This podcast is for anyone that knows they haven't yet found and offered up their best work, but are compelled to seek it out and do it. Are you ready to move your desk? Hello, my friends. I wanted to get on here today to share with you some experiences I've had recently that have been teaching me some lessons, and I think I still have a ways to go on learning some things. But earlier this year, I signed up, my son and I, to be in a triathlon. Now, if you've listened to any of the other episodes, you know that I have participated the last 2 years in a triathlon. And the first year I was on a 38-pound bike, which made it very hard because where it's not a super hard course, I don't think, but there's a lot of wind. No matter what direction you go, the wind is coming at you, just because Idaho's like this. But I enjoyed it enough that I wanted to keep doing it and improve my time. And so I signed up. The only problem is I never started training. In fact, I probably had less exercise at the beginning of this year than I've had in the last 5 or 6 years, just because I was heavily engaged in working very hard. And it's about a month ago, thinking, should I do this? I haven't prepared at all. And I go on a daily walk. I had started water aerobics a few times a week, but this wasn't really enough. I was also only lifting some arm weights, or like 10 pounds, which is not very heavy for me. And I don't have a gym membership right now. I've been in a lot of flux. So like this is not quite a good idea. And I even got coached on it. My coach asked me, my MJ, she's like, what are your reasons? I'm like, well, I thought the two reasons when I signed up for this triathlon were number one, to do this with my son, number two, to increase my time because my times weren't fast at all. And I discovered a few things and reasons. And so I'm like, oh, I think I can improve this. I think I can do this. It's just a matter of practice. But I didn't get around to it and didn't get around to it. And I finally decided a week ago that maybe I shouldn't do this. I don't know if I like my reasons. My son wasn't going to be able to participate, and there was no way I was going to be able to improve my time. And that's not negative thinking. That's just plain your body has to be prepared, at least more prepared than I was, right? But for some reason, even when I was coached on this and thought about it and everything, I still wanted to do it. So I decided I was going to do it in my own way, which meant that I've found that if I lay down for a few minutes completely flat on the ground, that it drastically increases my rest in a short period of time. So I thought, well, I will do this. When I get to T1, which is where after you swim in the river, you get out and you get your bike and all the supplies you need to go on the biking part of it. And I thought I'll just take some time. So I swam and I had a wonderful swim. I wasn't super fast. I think it was like 29 minutes for almost a mile. But I wasn't worn out or anything, but I'm like, nope, I promised myself I would listen to my body because I've been having some weird dizziness lately that I couldn't explain. So I laid down. I thought I was just down for a couple of minutes. And I put on my tennis shoes slowly and then got my bag ready and had to do a little back and forth to find where my bike was and everything at first. But I thought I'd gotten out like within 10 minutes. Well, apparently it shows on the clock it was like 37 minutes. I have no idea if something's wrong in that or not. I just know that I felt refreshed when I got on my bike. And I got on my bike and I rode, and I found myself starting to worry, going, okay, there's 3 hills at the end of this race. And so I better make sure that I rest so that I don't, have a problem. I don't want to be in an ambulance or anything like this. But I was passing a few people and I'm moving along fine. And I'm like, oh, I need to drink more water before I get tired. So I couldn't get the water bottle open. So I stopped. I drank it. And I'm like, okay, the Gatorade, whatever it was I was drinking. Right? And got back on my bike. And then a few miles later, I'm like, I should probably get off my bike because I don't want to be worn out before those 3 hills. And then about 14 miles in, I'm like, I'm just going to lay down here by this outhouse, which is by a couple of people. I'm like, don't worry about me. I'm just taking a little rest just to make sure, I'm not overheating or whatever. Then I got back on my bike and I got off one more time and got back on before those 3 hills, which didn't happen to be as hard as I thought, and then coasted in to park my bike and get ready for the supposed to be running part of the race. Well, I promised myself more rest, right? So I laid down to rest, tried to get up, and that's when I started feeling dizzy. Now, as part of my promise to myself, because I was untrained and trying to listen to my body, I was like, at any point in this race, I can choose to just leave the race. I don't have to finish. I need to protect my health because not only was I unprepared physically, but the weather was also humid. When I ended the race, it was about 97, 98 degrees. So it was not a good day. And there's a little bit of the remnants of the fires that have been sweeping across the United States. So I felt dizzy and I laid down again. I'm like, okay, just a couple more minutes. And one of the bikers that were coming in, he kept talking to me and everything. So I talked back. I'm like, I'm just resting. Then I sat up, still felt dizzy. Maybe this is my answer. Maybe I'm not supposed to finish this race. So I lay back down and I thought, I'm just going to sit up slowly and then I'm going to slowly stand up and then I'm going to go out the portion where it says you got to start the walking and running part of the race. And I'm going to go up the little hill partially. And if I can't get up the hill, then I'll just stop and this is a success. I did the swim and I did the 24.8 miles of biking. Well, I slowly saunter up part of the hill, and there's a bench part way up the hill because this kind of goes through someone's backyard somehow into a street. Then we go across railroad tracks, across some fields, and this whole thing of 6 miles. I sat on that bench, I don't know how long, like 5 or 10 minutes. And then I'm like, well, let me see if I can get up the rest of this little hill. Got up the rest of it. Someone talked to me as I was walking along. Well, maybe I'll try the first mile. If it doesn't work after the first mile, I'll just walk back. By the time I got in the first mile, I'm walking by some houses where there's some sprinklers and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep going. I'm tired, but I'm going to use this time to reflect on how grateful I am for the friendships and the family in my life, for how I've been taken care of through difficult things, even be able to bike and swim and get to that point on the journey. Started praying and I started thinking, and I've come a long ways. And then I went past the first mile and the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth. And I walked across the finish line. Couldn't even run for the last little bit. Everybody else seemed to be able to, even though it was downhill even. I was famished. It took me hours. It was 5 hours, and I think I don't know how much time I spent resting, but it was definitely over an hour of my experience was these little rests that I built in. And ironically, these rests might have helped in one way, but they hurt me in another way, right? Because then they put me in the heat of the day. But I finished. It was a really unique experience for me, different than the other triathlons I participated in. And I learned a lot about myself through it. And I experienced some interesting emotions this time. So I'd done this with friends before. And when you're with friends, you're talking with your friends. You're kind of noticing people on the periphery. And if there's a couple family members or other friends there, you're talking, you're preparing, you've got this nervous, anxious energy. It's very different when you're alone. And I was completely alone. I had my friend Renee drop me off. And this is the first year I didn't recognize anyone. Usually I've seen people from around town I know. I didn't know anyone. And I just stood there and I was watching as the elite athletes went into the water. And I was like, how dare I think I can compete with these people? How dare I enter the same race as these people that have put a lot of time, energy, and money into this? And they have obviously done more races. I mean, you could tell there were some seasoned athletes. And kudos to them. And there's a lot of them in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. I didn't see anyone in their 80s, but that doesn't mean there wasn't someone. You could tell they were strong and they worked hard. And a lot of them you could tell they were proud the way they're strutting, like respect, complete respect. You put in the work, you deserve this. Get in the water and go. But the struggle in that was also for me to sit back and go, listen, Rebecca, you are not less than in their presence. You didn't practice. This isn't your main thing in life. And this doesn't mean you are less than. And it's not worth comparing. And so that's really been an interesting challenge for me to deal with as I experience that going, wow, I'm comparing myself to these elite athletes, but I haven't put in the work. And by the way, they're not comparing themselves to me. That's the crazy thing about it. This is all self inflicted pain and comparison. But nevertheless, I got in the water and started my race. And I realized, it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. What is the stroke that works for me? So I did the backstroke the entire time. And yeah, you have to turn around and look at what's going on with that. But that protected my peace. That protected my breathing and what I needed at that time. And I will say that when I got in the water, I saw this little 13-year-old boy. He's the son of my one of my friends. Kudos to him. Man, he's finished like ninth in his age range or something, and like 300th out of 2000. I mean, that is so good. Good job for him, Heber. I think his name's Heber. Anyway, that is one of the lessons I learned is not to compare myself to people who have made this their top priority in life. And even if it was my top priority, not to compare myself, to just realize I need to show up in the best possible way for myself. I also had interesting experiences as people would pass me. You see their ages on their legs. I had a different reaction this time. Like there's a lot of self-judgment the first time I went through this triathlon and we were biking and I'd see all these people going by. And this time I was more reflective of, wow, a lot of these ages that are going by me, I've already been in my life. And then I'd see ages I wasn't at yet. I'm like, look, they got to that age and they're still doing this. How cool is that? Just to realize there was some regret mixed in there. And there was also some pride that, well, I'm out here. I'm out here with these people. And everyone, they're just so respectful on this. Like the teenagers to the 70-year-olds, they're just riding by going, you can do it, keep it up, good job, or whatever. And so I made sure this time, as I was passing people, that I would do the same. And if they had the mountain bike, I'd tell them, like, I did that before. I know it's hard, you can do it, but you're truly doing a harder, more intense race, and kudos to you. So I was able to be supportive on the journey while also I felt like my life was passing by my eyes. I also had a lot of prayers that I would be taken care of, that God would take care of me despite my poor decisions. At the same time, I felt like I needed to do this journey. There's something for me to gain in these journeys. And every time I've done these triathlons, I stew over it for the next day, going, what did I learn? What did I like? What did I not like? What could I have done differently? What do I want to do next year? Do I want to do this again? I know I'm not someone who wants to do 2 or 3 a year or anything, but do I want to keep up this practice? And why do I want to do it? This is something I have not resolved, but I've had to be coached on a couple times from my life coach, MJ, life coach and friend. Underneath all of this, there is a bit of the I'm not enough, seeking approval. Like when we join a race, are joining it so we can officially say through an official race system that we are timed the right timing and we have raced in the proper age group and that we have a faster personal best than before. We doing it because we love the race and the thrill of the race? Are we doing it because we want to be with friends and we want to be outside? Or we just want to train because we enjoy training and this is kind of the natural end of the training? It really brings up a lot of these questions for me. And I'm finding that in that mix, that I'm not enough. And how many triathlons will be enough? But doing the triathlon alone also showed me that I place an extremely high value now in my life on being able to do something with friends. With friends, I mean family, friends, people I'm close to, whether they're related or not. And to realize that I may do the triathlon again. I may, but I prefer to do it with friends and be able to cheer each other on and to have a joint purpose. And I've realized in this process too that I very much care about experiences. And so, do I need to do a race in order to have this experience? I have gone kayaking multiple times with friends this summer, and it's been really rewarding as we get on different parts of the river. And sometimes it's with one friend, sometimes it's with three friends. And just the empowerment that comes from spending time with friends. And even in that process, like sometimes someone will get tired. So, I'm like, hey, attach your kayak to the back of mine. I will do the rowing and being able to help a friend in that way, or just sitting still on the river with them and talk and have lunch while we're just sitting in our kayaks. I love being outside. I love doing this with friends. And I love that there's exercise involved and deep conversations. So that's really shown me a lot too, where I go, okay. And later in life, will I say, oh, I did 10 triathlons and that will mean a ton to me? Or will I say, hey, I did like 4 or 5 triathlons and I also got to kayak on the Snake River and I climbed Mount Timpanogos with friends. And I went over to this place and I ice skated on Lake Louise or whatever the thing is. Those kinds of experiences are things that I need to think about and choose and not just default. The thought as I explored this, I was like, well, what if I did two or three triathlons a year? What would I feel about that? And I realized I wouldn't be happy with that because I would feel like I was choosing the same thing over and over in a different spot. And I've realized, oh, that shows me something. Triathlons play part in my life, but they're not a huge part. And it's okay. No one else is expecting this of me. And I looked up the statistics about 1% or less of people in the United States participate in triathlons. From my experiences, I think way more people are doing that. Maybe more people are doing marathons. And I'm not really interested in more marathons. Right? So why was that? Easy for me to go look. I did a half one, I did a full one. I'm done. And yet now I'm having all this mind drama about the triathlon. And I think maybe because the triathlon includes more things that I love. I love swimming and I love biking. Running, I don't love. It's we're very short spurts on the basketball court and only if someone's in danger, to or from danger. I think I've shared that before. Such an interesting weekend for me. Also, a reminder to me to go, if I engage in something where I'm expecting myself to perform at the highest level, I need to maintain persistent practice. One of the challenges I've had, which is good in some ways and not so good in other ways, is that I don't realize I'm aging. I don't think about it a lot unless people bring it up, which people bring up these things a lot. That I've decided, no, I don't want to worry about aging. I want to worry about learning about staying healthy and fit and continuing to contribute and create and build friendships. I had this aha as I was shocked at my times once again that, wait a second, Rebecca, you used to have very strong legs because you were always bike riding. You were always walking everywhere. You were always pushing, pumping weights, I guess. I don't want to say lifting weights when it's your legs, right? But I can't claim that right now because I haven't done that lately. And just because I did that most of my life doesn't mean that's who I am right now. And I've had to go, oh, wow, I am so used to thinking I'm strong that I forgot to put in all the work. Or not forgot to put, I couldn't put in all the work. That's a reminder that persistent practice matters if you want to be able to claim accomplishment in something and know why you're claiming accomplishment. Because some of these accomplishments that some of us keep doing, we've got to be careful because it is coming from the thought that I'm not enough. And to really step back when you start thinking you have to keep doing more and more of something, why? Why? When will it be enough? When will I be able to claim this is done? Or I'm okay if I don't do that perfectly. It's a very interesting thing. And in fact, I got to talk about this with my coach today because I realized that I have a few degrees and I have a few certificates and everything. And I've tried to carefully choose what those extra learnings are because I want them to not be about not enough in the respect of thinking I'm trying to earn my value, but more from a place of I actually need some help and an outline, an approach to help me learn this quickly or more thoroughly because I need to perform something. So, for example, like you think I've shared before, I was going to court a lot. So I was like, I need to learn what to do, but I don't have time for a law degree. So I got a paralegal certificate. And that helped tremendously. And half of the help was just realizing that I should have confidence that I'd been doing a few things as best I could before the certificate. But with the certificate, I learned even more and gained a lot of confidence that I'm on the right path. I'm talking to the right people, trying to do the right things. It's not anything that proves anything to anyone else but me. I put in the work to learn more, and it's helped me on my journey, and it will continue to help me and pay dividends and helping me in all aspects of business and personal life. So why am I sharing all of this? I mean, I do get on here to share stories, but I hope that there's some meaning to it. I gained a lot of insights, and I just wanted to share with you the growth that has come to me on that journey. It's made me realize just today going, as I plan my week, I need to add some bike rides in because I want to bike ride and see what my potential is again because I have not been using some of it and I want to be outside on that bike. And it's taught me to go, wait, I need to take another look at some of my plans and go, okay, is this fulfilling me in meaningful ways? When I engage in my goals, when I meet with people to do things, am I choosing the right things? I'm not trying to choose between good and bad at this point. I'm trying to choose between good, better, and best. And my goal is to actually choose best as often as I can because life is short and I have so many ideas and things to do. I can't do it all. I have to set boundaries. I have to prioritize and make choices. And when I do that, I want to do it out of showing up as my best possible self and creating experiences that I will be glad I had later. Think about this today, if you will. Why are you making some of the choices you're making, especially when it comes to achievement? Why are you pushing yourself in a certain sport or in music or academics or in work? What are the trade offs you are making to achieve that goal? Are those trade offs worth it? In 5 years or 10 years, what would you hope you would have done? What choice would you hope you would have made? Today, I drove down by the river where this triathlon took place. And I was sitting there and I'm going, wait a second. On Saturday, there were over 2,000 people in this spot. And I saw one woman picking up a little teeny bit of stray trash. And I thought, wow, this all important event, there's no sign of it 2 days later. There's absolutely no sign of it. Someone driving into town and going to golf today would not have any clue that there was this massive triathlon 2 days ago. And yet I made it this big thing in my mind again. And there's not a problem with that, but just to realize that what I'd made it so important is done and gone. And we're back to day living after that. At the same time, when I was sitting down there, I'm like, yeah, this is the same river where I've gone kayaking with my friends a few times. And to bring that all together for myself and go, wow, I'm just grateful for all the experiences, the kayaking, the walks along the river, the triathlon that starts there, all of it. And how can I bring that together in a good way that becomes part of my experience and the experiences I share? It's a constant struggle for some of us to know where to achieve and where to just enjoy and where to achieve and enjoy and to redecide each time and not default into going, oh, I've got to keep doing the same thing until I can get better at it. Or maybe we do want to do that. The point is, it's your choice and that you like your reasons. I don't know what I'll do next year. Will I do the triathlon? Will I volunteer at the triathlon? Will I just do a triathlon by myself and say, hey, friend, come with me for 3 hours? Will you follow along and track me as I do this by myself without all the crowds? And that might be just fine. Think about your reasons, that you make your choices, and to know that you are enough. You were born enough. You were born with value. Part of this life is learning how to chip away at all these emotions and thoughts and beliefs we have about ourselves to find who that person really is underneath. And that does require a lot of experiments and learning in situations like this. But keep practicing, keep choosing, and I'm here to nudge you on the journey, and I'm grateful for the nudges that come my way. Hope you have a good week. Keep writing.